What are we doing, Renee?
What are we doing?
First of all, you're having a bit of a day, I've heard.
I don't know how visible it is, but the sting has blown up my hand a bit.
You can see it properly, yeah.
And then I cut my finger slicing bread.
So, what are we not doing today?
Anything with sharp tools.
So what are we doing today?
We're going to see if we can actually draw out the kitchen so we get a better idea of where it actually is. And then we'll be drawing where we're going to need to put the power lines, probably also the water drain, the water lines and the drain pipes. So.
And we think that's safe for today?
Yes. Don't point the spray paint can in the wrong direction.
Let's start with, I think, drawing out the where the cabinets are going to be. Just put some lines in there so we know what is where.
Yep.
Look at what it's going to look like. Look at this. Now, this is what it's going to be.
Now we have spirit level. We've had it for a while now, and now's the first time we actually.
Stop wobbling! No, I think it needs to be a bit higher.
Okay, now we'll stabilize.
2.1.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be our kitchen now. Oh. Wait.
More distance. Now we get to the bit where we ideally figure out where our cable trenches go. We have a drawing of what goes where, very professional, you know. The one issue is that if we were to draw the sockets, we ideally have them quite consistently at a certain distance from the corner, so they look somewhat neat. So it might be tricky to get the exact place right. So the question is whether we
can do the gullies.
We could do the trenches, yeah, but perhaps not yet
the boxes.
The exact holes for the boxes. If we want to think about the exact measurements, how far away from the corner we want them. Because at the moment we don't even know how far from the wall we want them to be.
Yeah. Even
if we don't know exactly where the wall will be, you need some sort of idea how far from the wall.
Yeah.
So, a quick back to the drawing board.
Yeah. It's 2 weeks later, and we have a plan, and we've got more paint, and we actually have got our supplies for the electrical stuff as well. So we have measured everything, we have drawn out obviously the worktop, and we are now going to draw out where all our sockets are going to be. It was a bit of like a long deliberation around like how high above the worktop should they be. Initially we thought 15 centimeters, but then when we saw that it felt a bit too low. We ended up with it being 20 centimetres, which in the end ended up nicely with all our light switches as well that we had planned around that same height. So now we have got our level set up, laser level set up, and we can draw all around the room where most of the sockets are going to be, apart from a few lower ones and access points for the dishwasher, hob, cooker hood and ovens and things like that. So that's what we're doing today, trying to get everything drawn out, then draw out the lines for the electrical cables before we can start making some more dust, just now that it's all settled. Do you want to? Do I want to?
Both. Let's mark the places where the tubes will go for the electric lines. They go into the middle of one of the halves of a toggle, and then from there they can continue to the other socket. So water power is coming from below. So we'll mark all these down. For any of the light sockets we'll have to go up, because that's where it needs to go afterwards as well. Yeah, that's it. See if it works.
Our first tool of choice was the angle grinder, and the idea was to cut into triangles and then try and fit in the conduit. It was very slow going. It was anything but a comfortable way to sit and to work, and as you can see, we also at the same time tried to catch as much dust as we could. Once we fitted in for the first time the conduit, it was anywhere near but fitting, so we had to then try again, go in and give it another round with the angle grinder, which made it very, very slow going. The second tool to be combined with the angle grinder is the jackhammer with the weirdy drill bit. I don't know what it's called, and we thought that it would, with the angle grinder having done its bit, be able to dig out the conduit channel that we needed. But that too was a really hard job, and it wasn't giving the results that we were after. We kept trying for quite a while, but yeah, it just wasn't it. Then the third tool was the normal drill combined with the jackhammer. and that, as you can see, was at least going in, which is a bonus. And in the end, we kept to this method. It was going and then combined with the weirdy bit on the jackhammer, because we had broken up the entire length of the canal that we needed to dig out. It was actually working and kicking up a lot of dust again, as you can see, but it's going. We were going places and we were quite happy with that. Our windows have roller shutters which are operated from the inside, and when the window fitters were in, we made a mistake of not calculating well enough the exact height of the worktop, so we had to fix the one that they had already placed a bit higher and completely move up the cassette that was untouched because we thought it would be okay. Initially we thought that the worktop would sit flush with the windowsill or perhaps even just underneath it, but after a lot of measuring and talking through and then getting all the floor parts and knowing how much height we'll lose, we ended up making the decision to put the worktop resting on the windowsill, and it will probably look nicer as well. But that also meant that we needed to move both couches up, including this one that you see now, which, as you can see, is lovely, well embedded within a lovely load of cement. And once again, we had to get out the jackhammer and try and make our way through bit by bit by bit, but eventually it was out. We were left with a gaping hole that we now have to fill back up again and make all neat and tidy, but at least our worktop will fit and we will not hurt our backs because we are placing the worktop just a bit too low. One thing that we'll really love about our future kitchen is that we will have a lot of sockets. But getting a lot of sockets also means that it is giving us a lot of work to put all those holes in. And we bought a drill bit that was supposed to be working, although we knew it was just a millimeter too small. And even though we thought we could make it work, it wasn't working. And we had to go back to the drawing board, and back to the drawing board actually meant going back to the DIY store. all our electricity for the sockets will come directly from the garage. So all the conduits will need to have holes that are going directly in there. And this we hoped would be a simple task, and in some sense it was, because we only needed to drill a few holes down. But our house is very well built, very sturdy, with a lot of reinforced concrete beams, you name it, we have it. And it was quite a lengthy job trying to get through with the drill that we had on the jackhammer, and a lot of patience, a lot of very compromising situations, as you can see. But yeah, it was a quite the adventure, quite the long day to get this in, but in the end, bar I think 2 holes, we made it work.
Today, potentially, is our last day making dust in the kitchen. We had to go back to the bricolage again yesterday to get a larger bit, because the one that we got was just a millimetre too small. But we have it now, and the last jobs for today are making all the holes for the sockets and switches. We've got one hole to drill in the floor for the waste pipe, and then one for two for water inlet, and one hole in the wall over there to get the power into the kitchen for the kitchen lights. And then that should be it. So let's see how far we get with that new drill, and fingers crossed it indeed is the last day of creating dust.
We immediately got to try out our new drill bit, and while it was the right size, actually a few millimeters too wide, so everything should be fitting rather nicely, it still did not go as planned. And you might ask, what does go as planned in this project? Well, nothing. But we persevere, and we always find new ways of doing things, because otherwise we might as well just give up and move. So there was a plan B. And plan B involves always more heavy equipment. The new plan was to pre-drill that circle, because that's how far it would go in, so we would have a nice print, and then use the jackhammer to drill around it with the pointy bit, and then hoping and praying to the spaghetti monster and everything else that it would indeed come out. And as you can see, it did come out. So this was going to be our new strategy. Pre-drill the circles for all the sockets, and then with a lot of anger and frustration, use the jackhammer to drill everything out.
Even getekend eerst, zeg maar, even grofweg. Nog een gat. Oh, die. Dit.
Oh, yeah.
So our floor rests on quite a few enforced beams, and this hole that we've drilled here, for example, is ending in one of those enforced beams. So for the electric, for this one and for that one, we are going to use the old waste pipe hole, but for the new waste pipe we need to drill a new hole, and then we also have to drill 3 holes, 2 for cold water, 1 for the dishwasher, and then 1 for the sink, and then hot water as well. And to prevent us from drilling on those concrete beams again, you just saw us measuring something downstairs, and now we can draw it out here to prevent us from making the same mistake again. We're so close to finally getting rid of all of this dust. I think it's very optimistic that he thinks we're going to go through this with that weird bit. I think we'll end up having to drill a few holes. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But I hope I'm wrong.
Yay!
The very last hole that we had to drill in the floor was for the waste pipe, and for that we also had a nice bit to fit our 4cm waste pipe, and initially it looked like I indeed would be proven wrong, because the first part of it went through rather nicely, as long as Renee could remember which hole to drill in, that is, obviously. But yeah, it did go through that first few centimetres rather nicely, but then, yeah, it didn't.
We moved the scaffolding. It actually went quite okay with that round drill bit going down. It's just that it's not long enough, so now we have to meet it in the middle. But we drilled a pilot hole, so we know exactly where it is. So Renee's now going to drill that hole, and then for now the holes in our floor will be done, apart from the holes for the underfloor heating, which Renee reminded me about, but we're not mentioning that one now. Hey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, it's coming down.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Oh well.
Oh, there we go.
So the drill bit isn't really working from downstairs, so at least it looks neat from up top. And we're now going to use the jackhammer to try and widen it out and open it up to the downstairs here. There's no other choice, to be fair. So let's see. You can clearly see we are professionals here.
Yeah! We had a bit of a snack break, and we're now going to at least drill with the 2.5 centimetre drill. Fingers crossed that that one doesn't get stuck again. And then we're going to move downstairs and jackhammer from there, because we will get this done. Famous last words.
The drilling was relentless, and I can't commend Rene enough for putting up with it and just powering through. I don't know how he did it.
Turns out there's also some fortified stuff there. So we carry on. It is 6:45. We're loving this, aren't we, Rene? Yes, we are loving this. Oh, look at that, man.
In one try. That took about 2 hours, but it's finally in. The hole is big enough, the waste pipe can go through. So, while we still have to make a hole for the electrics, we're leaving that for tomorrow. This taking about 2 hours means it's time for a shower and then some dinner before it gets dark. So, more tomorrow.
Drilling the last 4 holes in this drill for now, and going to do 2 there for the sets of lighting on that end as well. And yes, as exciting as this is, I'm not going to live record on it, so.
Again, Rene was the strong man here and was handling the drill These holes, we started with the small drill to try and drill the pilot holes, so that with the big drill we could, if needed, work from both sides to meet in the middle. And just like everything in this video so far, nothing went as planned, and it wasn't just a case of drilling 2 holes through the wall. It was another tale of perseverance, and again, I cannot commend Rene enough for just powering through, literally. This was a one-man job. I probably could not have held the drill up that long and that high. So Jim, here I come. My goal is to be able to do that in the future, but not right now. So my only role here was to morally support my t-shirt matching husband. Of course, we found another wire in the reinforced beam at that height, so we had to persevere a bit longer. We had already anticipated that we had to drill from both sides, but we did have to try and meet in the middle, despite the cable that we could not obviously drill through.
Ja, hij kwam helemaal niet. Maar dan is het goed.
This hole was drilled just to miss that big cable in the reinforced concrete beam. So this went through in one go, a very long go, but at least in one go. And that was it. That was the last of the holes. Yay! Rene, you need to say your own yay.
Oh, yes. That was not easy. That machine is so heavy, especially when you have to lift it up. So I'm glad we didn't try this last night.
Mm-hmm.
That would have not been fun.
Was it fun now then? But this means
No more drilling,
for now.
aside from a few holes in the floor. They don't make nearly as much mess. Whew. Cool.
Build up. Build up starts here. After cleaning.
Clean up starts here. Oh, what a mess. How does it feel? Smoother?
Yeah, I think so.